Another soft target, this time in West Africa. Welcome back to the France 24 debate. 21 killed, including 3 attackers and 3 special forces in the Sunday beachfront shooting in Ivory Coast historic resort of Grand Bassam after a luxury hotel in Mali's capital and the recent attack on a hotel restaurant in Ouagadougou, the capital of neighboring Burkina Faso. Al-Qaeda and the Islamic Maghreb claiming responsibility for the shooting spree Sunday in the old colonial capital of Ivory Coast, the place where rich expatriates and ordinary locals go to get away from the noise and pollution of nearby Abidjan. What impact on a country that's rebounded from civil war in a way that's drawn back investors and institutions? What response, not only from local and regional authorities, but also from former colonial power France, arguably, you could say, with its 4 dead, one of the targets of Sunday's attack. We're joined by a former UN General, Dominique Trinquant. Welcome back to the show. And from Abidjan, Nigerian blogger and activist Nena Nwakanma, who is with the World Wide Web Foundation. Thank you for being with us.
Hello and good evening.
Shortly after Sunday's attack, Ivory Coast's president was on the scene. Let's begin by listening to Alassane Ouattara.
At this moment, I'd like to offer my condolences to the families of those who were murdered. And I would also like to say to our fellow compatriots and the entire population that the situation is now under control and calm has returned. We will continue to bolster security in Grand Bassam, in Abidjan, and everywhere in Ivory Coast.
Nena Nwakanma, were you braced for this?
Yes, in a way, because I think that our authorities had alerted us, had informed us since the attacks in Mali and in Burkina Faso. And I can confirm that security procedures across the country have actually been lifted, kind of. They have been upped. So in supermarkets, in hotels, there is a proper search of everyone in Abidjan and other cities. And I do believe that many Ivorians or many people who live in this country kind of are not that surprised. I am not surprised.
And tell us about, for those who don't know West Africa, what Grand Bassam means to people who live in Abidjan like yourself.
Okay, before Grand Bassam used to be 1 hour drive from Abidjan, but now it's about 25 minutes because of the good road. And what happens is that this is a beach city. It is not the only beach city in Côte d'Ivoire, actually, because as you see, Côte d'Ivoire is right on the Gulf of Guinea, and from east to west, they are beach cities. So what happens is that every weekend, Saturdays, Sundays, even Fridays, young people, families, friends, ordinary people like myself, just go to the beach to hang out. It's not a tourist thing. It's not like a high-level thing. Everybody goes to the beach in Côte d'Ivoire. I myself, whereas I was receiving 15 women here, and our first thought was, hey, let's go to the beach. It's a natural thing for Ivorians to go to the beach. So Grand Bassam for us is like a second home to every Ivorian. It used to be the capital of this country, by the way. It has great monuments, and it is in the UNESCO database of World Heritage. So it is a city that is close to our heart. In those days of colonialism, women in Grand Bassam marched to look for independence. So it's a city that symbolizes independence. It is a city that symbolizes the resilience of the people. It is a city that women rights activists like myself hold very dear. It is a place that every Ivorian knows. It's not hidden. Everyone goes there. The beach is like a second home to all of us.
All right, and thanks, as you were saying, Nena Nwakanma, thanks to that new highway, it's become the weekend getaway for everybody, not just the rich and famous.
That's correct.
I'm pretty sure that they've spoiled our business. Here, we work hard every day so that foreigners can come and relax. This is our workplace. After what happened yesterday, I don't think that the clients are going to come back anymore.
Even me, I'm trembling. I'm scared because I wouldn't want to go back there if they start shooting again.
White people are going to be scared after events like this, you know? So I don't think they'll come back. Even if they do, the situation will need to be stable first.
I mean, Trinquant, is he right? White people are going to be scared to come.
They will be scared everywhere. I mean, it's yesterday it was in Côte d'Ivoire, perhaps in Senegal the next day. It was in Mali. It was in Burkina Faso. So I think that we must keep in mind now that the targets are everywhere. The big difference is that we're talking about two different sort of threats. The ISIS threat in the Middle East, which was a newcomer in the fight against the West. And this newcomer has one objective: to establish a caliphate, so a territory, which was not the case of ACME. ACME has always been fighting everywhere, and with not the purpose of having a country, but just fighting with ideology. And that's what they are doing in Côte d'Ivoire.
This time, as Nina was saying, we'd been expecting them to try to attack Ivory Coast, but nonetheless, it's very far from their stronghold, which is in the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, 3 fighters with a Kalashnikov, you can find them in any suburb in Africa or everywhere or in France. So, I mean, the way they are fighting is a new way of fighting which can destabilize very quickly a country, but at the same time, and the people in Côte d'Ivoire say that the security establishment in Côte d'Ivoire was very strong. I mean, they deployed patrol everywhere, they deployed people everywhere. The aim, and that's the same in Paris, I mean, the aim is that you will never stop 3 people with a Kalashnikov to kill people. What you will stop is that they will do that for a long time. You need to react very quickly, half an hour, 20 minutes. And that's why you've got people everywhere ready to react. But you will never stop.
And the response time was fairly quick.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm saying you will not impede such an action. You need first information in order to know where the people are, where are the suspicious people and weapons. But of course, 2 or 3 people can go against this information.
Okay, so they don't want to carve out a caliphate like in Iraq and Syria. What do they want?
They want first to destabilize the country. When you've got NGOs, Western people, small business leaving the country, then the economy of the country will slow down. Then you will have more and more people angry against the country, and more people ready to go to this extremism, because the country will not provide them a job, and there will not be economic deployment in the country.
So for you, this is an attack targeted more at Ivorians than it is at French expatriates, as some have claimed.
It's both. If you have the 19,000 French living in Côte d'Ivoire and the Lebanese, don't forget that you've got a very huge company, huge colony of Lebanese going out, then you've got a lot of business will collapse, and then part of the Ivorian business will collapse. So it's both. I mean, at the same time, you are targeting the country, Côte d'Ivoire, like Burkina Faso or Mali, but at the same time, they know that one of the big support of the country is that you've got people who are making the business with the Ivorian people. So just get rid of these people, then the Ivorian people will be alone. A lot of the business will slow down, and then at that time you will have an effect on the economy of the country.
Nena Nkwanma, how do you stop that from happening? Again, as we just heard General Trinquant say, just a handful of people with a few Kalashnikovs could wreak a lot of havoc. How do you stop that economic recovery we've seen since the civil war in Ivory Coast from stopping here?
Well, I do not entirely agree with the gentleman. I don't think the Ivorian economy is dependent on France or French people or any other people by that way. First of all, Cote d'Ivoire is an agrarian economy. I just want to remind you, we live on coffee and cocoa and we grow them here. They're not grown in France. So that is something very capital. The Ivorian economy, first of all, depends on the Ivorian people and not any other person. And so far we have a tally of about 22 dead, and it's been only one French person. So the attack is on the Ivorian people themselves. And I can tell you, this is a resilient people. This is a people who are willing to get up and work for their own country. I personally will go to Bassam this week and get back on Sunday. We are planning a march. We're planning blood donations. We will do what it takes to bring this country back. We are not in any way hoping that one savior will come from XYZ country to do that for us. Come on, guys. There were shootings at Bataclan and 90 people were killed. Did that stop the French economy? No. I think that business people who are worth their salt now know that 2-3 people flinging guns and coming to shoot 5-10 people should not make them run away. Any sensible business person knows that in West Africa, not just in West Africa, across the whole world. I go to the US every day. I go to everywhere. They could come and destroy. They could come and shoot 1 or 2 people. But I think that their aim is to bring fear. And hey, we have seen that. We've known that. We are going to continue living our lives. I have asked this same question to many Ivorians, and they're like, we are not going to change our lifestyles. We'll go to the beach. We will have our own enjoyment. We will build our country, and we will make it just the way we want it to be. So I don't think these 2 people or these 3 guys with guns will slow the economy of the country. It's going to be shock for 2-3 days, but we're going to come around it. We've seen a lot of things in this country. We've seen the war, we've seen crisis, but we've come around. So for me, this is small. We're going to come around, and we're actually almost around the corner.
All right, so Ivorians are going to rebound. General Trinquant.
Yeah, I agree. I was not saying that the Ivorian economy was depending from the French. What I was doing is that was a target. And that I'm not saying that because they try to do it, they will succeed. And I think that the answer from the lady is fine. I mean, the resilience. We must not forget that we will have people who will be killed. But
it's perception. People are choosing a vacation destination.
Yeah, of course.
Ivory Coast is I can vouch for it myself, a great place to go on vacation.
Yeah, sure.
But people, they watch the 24-hour news cycles and they're scared by the images they see on TV.
Of course, people are scared, and that's the aim of Al-Qaeda, is to scare people and to disrupt the economy. That doesn't mean that they will succeed. If you've got people like this lady who will be resilient and will say, okay, we've got 10 people, 14 people, 15 people, 100 people killed, but that will not stop because our life is like that. And then there will be the failure for Al-Qaeda. But that doesn't mean that there will not be another attack and another 20 people killed. We must live with that. We must live with the fact that they will target, that they will kill people. We must live with the fact that the security system must change or be improved, with people who will react very quickly for stopping the bloodshed at 20 or 25. But anyway, sadly, you will have 20 or 25 people killed.
Nene Nkwanma, after Sunday's attack, has your perception of that French-led push to chase the Islamists out of Mali back in 2013 changed in any way?
I'm not a specialist in French issues, but what I know is that after Charlie Hebdo, we were like, oh, this would never happen in France anymore. But what happened at Bataclan was even worse than Charlie Hebdo. So with all the security, with all the equipment, with all the knowledge in France, it happened the first time, it happened the second time, which was worse. So I do agree that this may happen again. But no, it has not changed my perception in any way. I still believe in the security officials of this country. And like I said at the beginning, the government has upped its game in security, and everyone who lives in this country has seen evidence of improvements in everything that this government does. Right away, what I will say is that we need more citizen participation, because terrorism is something that you can't put a policeman at every 100 meters. I don't think any country in the world can do that. What we need is that people like myself, people like my children, people like my family, when they see something, they can call the police. When anyone sees something that is not very clear, they can report immediately. So I'm hoping that we will get that partnership between government and citizens, between security officials and citizens. That is where I expect more action, because alone, the security officials cannot do this. Alone, the government cannot do this. But with us, with individuals, with people on the web, with people in the villages, we can get ahead of this. That's my personal belief.
General Trinquant, I'm going to ask you a question which I wouldn't be asking if it was a former British colony, probably, is what can the French do? Because that's a question a lot of Ivorians will be asking. You know, there's a French military base that's in Ivory Coast, and there's always been this symbiotic, sometimes love-hate relationship between the people of Ivory Coast, or part of them, and the people of France. But there is this deep bond between the two countries, like it or not. Is it France's responsibility for French expatriates among the killed? Is it France's responsibility to do even more in Ivory Coast when we see that it's already stretched on several fronts?
No, I think the answer is in the end of the government of Côte d'Ivoire. I mean, if they ask, more training or support or something like that, they will ask. But it's an independent country where, of course, the French base in Abidjan will have probably proper security measures to protect the French soldier, of course. But that's part of the environment in Côte d'Ivoire, and Côte d'Ivoire is able to cope with that. Of course, like any country, they need the help of other country in information, mainly, but also in training, perhaps. But that's just an addition to what is done, and that can be done by the French, by the British, by the German, by other people. I was in, you talking about the former French colony. I was in Sierra Leone last week, and I saw training teams from UK, from US, and from French working together in order to prepare the soldier.
Nene Nkwanma, how would you compare the way the response has been to terror attacks like the one we saw Sunday in Ivory Coast with the response to terror attacks that we've seen in Nigeria to Boko Haram?
Well, I do not live in Nigeria, but I do recall that sometime, at least 12 months ago, there were experts sent from France, from the UK, from the US, and there was the big media thing around it that, they have come to help Nigeria get rid of Boko Haram. 1 year on, Boko Haram is still in country, which comes back to the point I want to drive to everyone watching and listening to me. This is not just an international diplomacy thing. It is a partnership that governments have to do with their citizens. Let me ask you a quick question. Even if there were 5 armed French security top-class officials at the beach, do you think this would not have happened? You need to understand how the mind of a terrorist works. Even in France, it has happened. Like I said, it happened at Charlie Hebdo. All the security beefing up was done, but it happened at Bataclan. So I don't think that France has 100% security in terms of terrorism. I haven't seen one country that says, we'll come to this country and we're going to secure you against terrorism 100%. It does not exist. And if anyone listening to me is thinking, all we need is for France to come and save us, that is nonsense. It won't happen, because anybody can pick up a gun anywhere and fire into a crowd. I am personally grateful because we have big beach parties around the area that can have up to 50,000 youth. We have something called Beach of TV Beach Party. What if it happened there? So what I'm saying is that because it happened in Bassam at the beach shows that there is security in Abidjan. It shows that there is security at our airports. It shows there is security in our hotels. So I'm saying that we have the minimum. I trust this government. I trust President Ouattara. I trust the armed forces of Côte d'Ivoire, and I'm willing to participate. I'm willing to add my own part in whatever I can do. If it's creating content to help educate other people, I'm happy to do it. It is in translating, I'm happy to do it. Whatever I can do as a person, Nena Wakama, I will do it. As the Africa Regional Coordinator of the World Wide Web Foundation, we will do it. Right. It is important that we have citizens participate for their own security.
General Trinquant?
Yeah, I'll try to answer the question. Of course, we are exactly on the same line. I mean, to fight against these terrorists, you need first intelligence. A lot of intelligence is given by specialists, but also by citizens. That's the part of the citizen. They are defending themselves. They can't ask always to the state to provide the intelligence. They've got their proper intelligence in all the borough where they are, where they see people who have weapons or who are a bit suspicious. They must report. That's the first thing, intelligence. Second thing is rapidly deployable units and able to react very quickly in less than 30 minutes. And Côte d'Ivoire is doing a fine job on that, like the French forces are doing that. So that's very important. And the third point, and I go back to the citizens, is resilience. We are at war with these people. Will not have 100% security everywhere. You will have always sometimes someone with a Kalashnikov will come, jump and kill. And then you must have the information prior to that, react very quickly, and if you can't do all that, you must be resilient in order to show that your society is better than the proposal they are making.
All right, Dominique Trinquant, I want to thank you. I want to thank Nene Nokanma. And if you are indeed going to Bassam this week, please send our thoughts to all the people there and to people of Ivory Coast. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate. Stay with us, though. Our Media Watch segment is there.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we're in the company of Emma James. Hello, Emma. Among the reactions, and I guess you could say some of Ivory Coast's best ambassadors are the footballers.
Absolutely, and never more so than right now. It's amazing, really, how they've managed to strike the right tone when some others, which I'll come to later, have failed to. Wilfried Bony is one of those who have tweeted today, pray for my country, Ivory Coast, with a very simple little drawing there, pray for Bassam. Of course, one of the best-known players is Yaya Toure, of course, another Manchester City star, along with Wilfried Bony. He wrote on Facebook, it is with a heavy heart that I learned of the tragedy that befell my country on Sunday afternoon. I'm saying prayers for all the mourning families. May God watch over the Ivory Coast. Now, Didier Drogba actually tweets in support of those involved in both the terror attacks that took place on Sunday, saying, same tears, same pain, pray for a better world, with the hashtags Bassam and Ankara. And probably the reason that he did that, he also tweeted his condolences to his former teammate, Umut Bulat, who lost his father in the attack on Ankara. So that's possibly the reason why he chose to pay tribute to both those groups of people involved. Now, one French paper who spectacularly failed to strike the right tone on this story was 20 Minutes. It's been picked up on by Les Inrocks because there was a great deal of upset online because of this headline, 14 civilians killed, among them 4 white people. And of course, many people saying, why did that need to be spelt out? What on earth was going on? Now, as this article points out, they were actually quoting the Ivorian Coast's Interior Minister, who had said that in a press conference, not that they feel that excuses their use of it in the headline, and they ask why did they...
It's information, but it shouldn't be the headline.
No, and they didn't even put it into quotation marks. They just reiterated it as the headline, very strongly criticised. It was later replaced with this version, which many people felt wasn't any better. The story of a black day. Again, just seems to be missing the mark, and lots of people tweeting about this one. Hello, 20 Minutes. Would it be possible to class the victims in Ivory Coast by colour, nationality, religion, and then their bank account? Another Twitter user angry about this one. They say at the newsroom for 20 Minutes, there's been an attack in Ivory Coast, there are 14 people dead. OK, says someone else, there are 4 whites. Mais quelle horreur is the response, and suddenly it becomes a bigger story for them. Now, that's a slightly sort of black humour, bleakly humorous look at it, really, but there is possibly a grain of truth in that, and rather a sad truth too.
You were mentioning the Ankara attacks. There too, plenty of reactions.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that seems to have caught a lot of people's attention is a Facebook post that has been shared now around 70,000 times, actually written by a British man called James Taylor, who's been living in Ankara for the last 18 months. And what he asks is, you were Charlie, you were Paris, will you be Ankara? He's asking people basically to imagine that this happened in the cities that they know and love, involving people that they know and love, and that really this is no different. His actual post is quite lengthy, but among the comments in it, Ankara is not a war zone. It is a normal, modern, bustling city, just like any other European capital. Turkey is an amazing country with truly wonderful people. I have never felt more welcome, more happy, more safe than I do here. Elsewhere, we're seeing a repetition, really, of the kind of criticisms that we've seen before. After Paris, there was such a worldwide outpouring of emotion that was very, very visible whenever you looked on the internet. And in its wake, it seems that any terror attack doesn't get as much attention. I not only want to hear the condemnation, but want to see the world leaders march in solidarity with the people of Turkey. And this Twitter user says, if the Ankara attacks were in Paris, everybody would already have changed their avatar, their profile photos, and be weeping.
Emma James, many thanks for that. I want to thank our panel once again. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate.